What is going on, my YouTube friends, on my Patreon friends? How we all living today? Y'all showed up on I believe it was my first Jinjer video. I'll tag the reaction up here if I remember. And it was a lot of fun, man. I was super impressed. Not that my word in being impressed really means much. But like I was blown away. And I don't typically listen to that heavy of music. But like when it's good, you know? Like it doesn't take a super fan of like metal or like harsh vocals or like whatever you want to classify it as to appreciate good work and good music, right? And I got sucked into like the individual performers just as like talented individuals. Like the drummer was crazy, the lead singer man had friggin' pipes, guitar player, bass player, like everyone was great. And for those of y'all that haven't really met me or haven't gotten to know me, I've been a sound guy. I was a sound guy, a live guy for. I'm in my 17th year now with like a little bit of time off in between. I was full time for about 10 years. I do lots of like in studio stuff now. Like I'm working on like a 90s rock, hard rock kind of project. Do lots of like metal remixes for rappers for some reason. They keep hitting me up. But that's kind of like the angle I take, right? So I've just been like around live music and studio music for a long, long time. So I try to offer at least like my thoughts on things. I don't really like to say like this is how they did it because like if I say a compressor, man, that like opens up a whole can of worms. So I usually will like talk about what I think is going on, or at least like what the advantages are of doing things like that, right? So I'm gonna try to make it interesting. Our friend Alvaro sent me this one. This is Jinjer, Audiotree from Nothing. I appreciate this, my friend. I know you've been a Patreon member for a long time, and this is gonna be a long one, y'all. It's 23:52, and let's watch this. Let's check this out.
The thing is that in order to understand what this band means to us, you need to understand what was the starting point and what this band eventually gave us and what it made of us. We started out of Ukraine, out of provincial small cities in the middle of nowhere. And the way, the journey we had to take, to go, is 10 times longer to any other bands.
Shout out to Ukraine, y'all. Shout out to Ukraine. I know they're going through a lot right now, and like I am 100% a supporter.
Take to go is 10 times longer to any other bands.
I bet. There's another Ukrainian band I follow called the Sixters, man. Like my heart goes out to them.
We all made it inside Jinjer, because of Jinjer, due to Jinjer. Each of us contributing as much as we can. So it's more than just a band for us. It's the whole life now.
Yeah, all life decisions we made, like, it was all connected to Jinjer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the only thing I know. It occupies all my life.
I bet. Vortex. Cool.
Like a lunatic.
All right, y'all. Of course, we got to talk about these drums. So he's playing. It's a pretty stripped back kit. I don't know if I got a good look at it at the last one. If this is the same setup or not, let me know. So auxiliary hi hats. That's cool. Probably like for double kicking sections. This hi hat would be like preset to kind of like washy or however you want it. Some drummers put it like really, really, really tight, so like you just get a closed hi-hat when you're doing double kicks, but this one looks like it's going to be washy. He's got his auxiliary snare on his like floor tom side instead of like another floor tom, right? A lot of drummers, especially a lot of drummers that I review on this channel, they have it over on this side, and then it becomes like this like big open thing. And for auxiliary snares, you can either have it like popcorny like he has it, or you can have it like big, flat, almost like trap beaty sounding is like typically what they both have, right? Or like one or the other. And his regular snare is probably just going to be big, fat, like a nice, low, meaty, punchy snare drum. But no rack toms. That was the interesting thing. Lots of cymbals, real close together, so he's probably not smacking the crap out of them, which is good because like you can only hit a cymbal with so much velocity. It's only going to do so much. Like a drum, the harder you hit it, the more it's going to respond, et cetera, et cetera. A cymbal has like a point where hitting it harder, it doesn't change anything, right? I would even argue that like you're just wearing yourself out, maybe even wearing out the cymbals more. Like I had a drummer explain it to me as about 60% max velocity, and like a cymbal won't do anything more above that, right? So, but it's smart. You don't need to tire yourself out playing these cymbals. Like they're gonna come through, they're gonna cut through anyways. But yeah, super interesting. Right out of the gates, man. That's a really interesting selection of how the drum set is set up. does have 2 floor toms. Oh yeah, there's it looks like a 14 and an 18 even maybe. I can't see this one. It does look a little small though. Like normally it would be like 14 or a 16. It might be a 16. The other one, or this one might be a 14. That one might be a 16. It did look quite big, so I'm gonna guess the second one is an 18. But this one looks kind of smaller, so I'm gonna guess that it's a 14. And again, like, oh, and there's one over here too. Crazy. You want to have enough separation between your toms too. Like in old jazz and old like country, maybe they would have like 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, and they're almost like a chromatic, right? They're like such similarly sized diameters of drums that like you don't get that much change between them. And for a lot of music at a certain point in time, that's what you wanted, right? But nowadays you see rock drummers have like maybe a 12 up and a 16 down. Like that's a big jump. 4 inches is a big jump in a drum, right? So I'm assuming that he's got something going on like that. That's why I'm kind of speculating that I think it's a 14 and an 18. An 18 is a really big floor tom. Like that's usually custom made. Maybe not nowadays anymore, but for a long time was mostly like custom ordered, custom made, right? But I'd have to get a better look to see what the size of the first floor tom is. It sounds really nice.
Like a lunatic, frantic. A man in the room looks so dramatic with a tattoo on his right foot. The spiral traffic feels too dramatic, too dramatic. Quiet, the man is wandering around, runs away all he never found, and inside, as a bullet of lead, it's rolling and romping on my head. Oh, how heavy is the ball? It bends his spine to the very ground. Neither he's nor another. You know my soul it crush. Oh, how heavy is his stride? In a half an hour or so, he crushed the floor and smashed the man's jaws.
Yeah, this is like complex. This is wild sound. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the guitar. He's got to have more than one channel of guitars happening because they're big and thick, man. I don't think they have them panned hard left and right either. I think it's like a 60-40 or like even an 80-20 split. So like 80% of the right guitar and 20% on the left side, and then probably the same thing vice versa. On the second channel, you have like 80% of the guitar on the left side and 20% of it over here. Because it's not quite like pushed to my side. It's like kind of in the middle, right? But like as a 3-piece with a vocalist, you kind of need to take up a whole bunch of space, right? So something that like I do is I have 2 guitar mics on the same guitar amp. Because the band that I work with right now, they only have 1 guitar amp, but we do 2 channels. One of them has 10 milliseconds of delay, so you have like your main tone that's like real. It's like on the edge of the cone, kind of like it's real bitey, real like bright and brilliant. And then the other one on the second speaker is like right in the middle of the cone, and it kind of gives you this really fat, thick, low mid tone. But I've set that back in time 10 milliseconds so they don't just phase with each other, right? But it gives you like this big, wide spread. And I don't know what like a 10 millisecond delay accounts to in like it's quick. It's real quick. When she's playing, it almost just sounds like 2 guitar players. They got to have something like that going on. They have to, man. And there was like a little bit of a vocal track. There was like a harmony going, and that's cool. It's like well within my tolerance. Like the band that I work with, we do lots of tracks, but it's all stuff that like Tatiana, right? It's all stuff she would have sang, either pulled it from the studio sessions or she re-sang it for the like live performance if they change arrangements and stuff. But like you need to be clever when like it's a 3-piece with a vocalist, right? And yeah, they're doing a killer job of that. They don't need my affirmations on that, but like I really appreciate how they're treating that. And that scream section, man, was tough. That added energy.
He crushed the floor and smashed the man's jaws. Because the floor has smashed the man.
Nice delay on there. Crazy, man. Crazy accuracy from this drummer. Like, the guitar player is snapping too, man. I'm sure we'll talk about the guitar player lots. I'm stuck in this drummer. To keep in time with his left hand and doing the ride bell, like an off patterns with his right hand, and still playing the drum beat underneath that is crazy, man. And ghost notes instead of just crazy double kicks. Man, I vibe with that. I vibe with that so much. It's just... Because, like, it seems like a lot of hard bands, heavy bands, metal bands, whatever. It seems like they just rely on double kicks. Like, great. You're double kicking. Like, cool, right? But ghost notes, man? Ghost notes? Fuck yeah. Switching floor toms. Tough, man. Yeah, that was a cool song. That was a really cool song. They're going to talk about origins and writing. Cool. Man, bass player, guitar player locked in. And, like, these are some nasty riffs. Like, it's almost like proggy, where, like, I can't follow where they're going, where they're going to go. And, like, I think it's super impressive, man. And, like, given that the drummer is playing as intricately as he is, like, there's got to be nasty riffs to back those up. Otherwise, you just have a drummer playing lead drums, right? But everything is so fitting. Like, everyone is playing for the project. It's not like anyone's trying to show off or anything. I don't get that vibe at all from these guys, man. Super cool. Great riff. Great riff.
Because it's no original member in the band. It started like in crazy way.
15 years ago, there were absolutely different people.
It started from 17 or 20, let's say. This very important period of time for any person. 20s are where you establish as a person,
As
right?
a character.
Yeah, as a character.
From your 20 to 30.
You're already not a kid, but not a fully blown grown up. So we spend this very special period of time together, and there's no way we can spend the rest of our lives separately. You know?
That's cool.
The last 2-3 records, we composed songs like Vlad composed, Eugene and me, and then like Guitar Pro it, send it to each other. We do not sit in a room and compose music. So we sit at homes and compose music, like completely songs from each.
Then share it
Yeah,
with
then
each
share
other,
it, then we
learn it.
Yeah, some changes.
Then we
so,
come
yeah.
to the studio together, and then we do changes together.
Cool.
Wallflower, last album, it was fully written musically and given to her. And before the studio, neither us nor her ever knew what the vocals will be.
Same was with micro and macro.
Yeah, 3 records.
Yeah, everything after it started on King of Everything, basically.
King of
because,
Everything.
yeah,
Forward.
because I didn't have much time to finish all the songs, like lyrics for all the songs. So I remember the night before I had to go to the studio. I had to finish at least like 3 songs or something. So I finished one because Eugene helped me with one part. It's Pisces. I asked him, please, Eugene,
I heard that
my
one.
head is dry, my brain is dry. Not a single inspiration
She had
drop.
two-thirds of the lyrics.
Yeah, and so he wrote a part, like a passage, that helped a lot. This song was done. Cool. 2 more songs, the intro and the outro. It's so, the last moment I collected from all the songs on this album, I picked out 2 lines from each song. And I gathered them together, and I had a completely new lyrics, completely new poem. And so I used this monster, like this mutant, I don't know, Frankenstein, yeah, on the intro and on the outro. But the melodies are completely different, so we got 2 songs with same lyrics.
A concept like this was just built. It was again a spontaneous decision. A spontaneous decision. We just thought that it would be cool, and it worked very well.
Yeah, it worked very well.
Cool. It's like very organic. Like they're not trying to force something. Yeah, you have a job to do. You're a full-time musician. You have work to do, but like it doesn't seem like they're like sitting on things forever and forcing it to happen. They're just letting it kind of come organically. I vibe with that. I think that's really cool.
I composing like all my free time. Like if I have like time
And it's free.
and it's free, yeah, I just take a guitar and start composing. Tchaikovsky once said that you need to write like all the time. It's most of your writing will be bad, but like 10% of it will be good.
We have like this scale. Good shit. Yeah, if it's shit,
There's nothing
it's
in
go out.
between.
It goes out. It's good. Okay.
But that makes sense though, because like, why would you put something out that you were like, it's fine? Like, no, it's either you can't predict if it's going to be a hit, but like, it's either good, you enjoy it, it inspires you, or it doesn't. And if it doesn't inspire you, man, it's probably not going to inspire a ton of other people, right? Like, that's a fair gauge. If you like your music, chances are someone else is going to like it too, right? I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. Bill Murray, if you all watch Bill Murray, dude's hilarious. He said, he's like, I'm a full-time musician. What else am I going to do other than write and record? Like, I'm just going to write 8 songs in a year and then just coast? Like, there's no chance, man. He's like, I'm writing all the time. I'm paraphrasing here, but...
For me, it's pressure. Pressure and stress. Clicks, something. Like, something clicks in my head. And I was like, no. Like, I'm completely anxious, you know? Then it starts working. Sometimes I just take a walk or I read a book, you know, sometimes I go and search. I don't sit and wait until until it strikes. I go and hunt.
Nice. Cool. Cool, man. He probably wrote that and was like, fuck yeah. Like, that's how I feel right now. It's beautiful.
Your
She got a beautiful voice too. Like, I'm so glad that people are taking care of their voices, man, because it seems like in a lot of artists, maybe like, let's go back 10 years, it seems like if they scream or have gritty vocals, they don't have a falsetto or like a head voice at all. Man, she's got a beautiful head voice, beautiful falsetto. She can scream her ass off, man. Like, she's obviously taking care of her vocals. And I remember when like Xana's Screaming came out and everyone bought the DVD or whatever, and they felt like they could just scream because like they had permission to now. But it's like, no, man, like this is a craft. Like, you got to take care of yourself. You got to practice for your marathons. You got to do some jogs before you just go out and do the whole thing, right? And obviously she's been doing everything she needs to, man. Her voice, like the range of her voice is nice and clean, sounds healthy, doesn't look like she's straining. Like, she's intense, she's got moments of intensity, especially when she's screaming, but doesn't look like she's sacrificed anything for it, other than time and dedication, of course. Wow.
Should I just go on or jump over the wall and say hello to the sick world? I gotta go home, my batteries are low. This life is a lockdown. I gotta go home, my batteries are low. That's what it's all about. This life is a lockdown. That's what it's all about.
Tough, man. That was wild.
Artists,
I call that one like a ballad almost. That was wild, man. Again, like intricate, but not over the top, not too much, right? And like, oh man, I love that. That was a real cool one.
artists either express themselves or reflect the world through themselves. This is what art is. And this is what we do.
Dynamics.
Yeah, the meaning for your life,
It's
everything.
bad, then the next moment is good. The next moment is even shittier, you know, and so is our music. The more shit you go through, the better. That's how I take, that's how I receive.
When you really have gone through a lot of shit, you have the full tank, let's say, behind you, which will push you forward. And this is what happened to us. Yeah, and if you look through the lyrics, I can lay a bet, I can gamble that all the topics in our songs covered by Tatiana is actually real stories in some way. This is real experience, everything. I particularly remember I was writing the lyrics for Dreadful Moments, And I really was thinking if I'm crossing the red line, because that's a bit too much, and the topic is very serious in this song. I just thought that, well, I don't think Cannibal Corpse ever thought about crossing the red lines or any other real underground bands, and I just let myself go.
I
That's
miss
important too. You don't want to filter yourself just because you're worried about how it's going to be perceived. Like, I think if we all shared how we were feeling more often, aside from, you know, the boy who cried wolf type thing, but if we actually talked about that stuff, there'd probably be a lot more unity in those feelings, right? Like any of the times, like I have a panic disorder. I've got a heart thing that I'm working on right now. I've been diagnosed with a heart condition, and I'm sure that the more I talk about that, panic attacks, anxiety, I'm sure the more of y'all will relate to me, right? Not everyone's been a sound guy for 17 years, like whatever I said. Like, so that's usually like a rare one. There's lots of sound techs, there's lots of technicians that watch my channel. That's great. But a lot of people feel anxiety, man. A lot of dudes feel like depression, a lot of these things. And like filtering ourselves away from that is like you're cutting yourself short, right? If you feel something, man, like let it out, especially if you're in art. Like, come on now.
those years that I've never lived through, you know, like the beginning of 90s or even 80s when there was no cancellation, you know. You cannot be canceled for what you're saying in a song because it can be fake, can be fiction, or it can be true. No one knows. So it's a freedom.
If we look at the poetry throughout, let's say, the last 300 years, actually there are so many intricate, really provocating points touched by really huge poets, and nobody ever blamed them for this. Mm-hmm. Now we live in an absolutely different society when everyone can get offended.
Yeah, they see what they want to see, and they think that you probably are like you were a hater.
Yeah.
You hate this, you hate that.
It sometimes feels that people really lost the idea of what metaphors are. What speaking about what is really speaking about things figuratively. So, and the absence of this really concerns me.
After release of every album, there are a bunch of interviews where you explain over and over again what this or that song is about. But then reading all the comments on the internet, they still see what they want to see. And they say, hey, dude, I just did an interview for you to understand what this song is about. Why didn't you pay attention?
Because if you contradict their thoughts, then they're wrong, and they can't stand that, right? Yeah, come on now.
You have no idea how big a conflict can be. It's usually me and Eugene who just like sit there. I don't go on stage until you apologize.
It happened on this tour.
It happened on this tour in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, yes.
So it's super hot, extreme weather, and Eugene did something. He locked the door with my shit behind the door, and I was like, "Open the door." He said, "I won't do it." I said, "Fucking bitch!"
Yeah, that was out of nothing.
Fight. Yeah, out of nothing. And then he said, "I'm not gonna play today's show until you apologize." And I sent a message. I'm not gonna play until he apologizes for all the shit that he told me
Before.
Yeah. And then no one played. No one played because
the show was canceled.
because of the
weather.
The weather was even hotter.
Than our quarrel.
Use your marbles, man.
Quarrels, fights. Despite all of that shit, I still call these three my closest friends. After so many years, we just don't have anyone else. We left everything else behind. We moved forward. Everything we had stayed there. And it happened a couple of times. It's not just one move. There are so many things which connect me to Jinjer. I cannot really imagine my life without it anymore.
Yeah, for me, I think I won't find new friends. You know, I'm not able already to make new friends.
Same story.
Because it's like puzzles, you know, you have to
file. You have to file it.
You have
to
file.
file it in order to make it match.
Yeah.
I like that.
Every morning I woke up to crowds sound. They are cooking to abuse music.
Great vibrato. There's some double kicks for you. Hey, wow.
Creeping onto the reality of facing 1,000 as they circle around. The strength of my soul, God lost our soul. Lost the rights of my heart, want to die all the time. Want to die all the time. Here I am, sitting on the edge of a cold fence. Lost and fast, I left you all behind. Intricate, living on the barrier, separating death from life.
My goodness, man. Drummer going wild. Like, everybody's going wild. Everybody's going wild. I'm just so stuck in this drummer, y'all. Did someone say that there was, like, him just playing a drum playthrough, like, just on his own? Maybe I can get out of my system. Because, wow, man. Like, it's just so precise. And like I said earlier about the cymbals, he's not beating the crap out of them. He's not trying to kill these drums. He's not trying to break any heads or cymbals or anything. Like, he's just playing with intention, right? And, yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. That's a beautiful thing. These, like, I could go on and on. These guitar riffs are nasty. Bass is filling out a lot of room for the guitar player guy to do like the chugging stuff and like these high melodies and whatnot. And that's important too in your songwriting, right? You can't just have everything low and chugging, and then you just have this like big muddled mix of like lows, right? Like having all those dissonant chords up top is crazy, but they make it feel like they seem like very artistic people. It doesn't feel like it's just like again, I'm just using metal as like a general term. It doesn't just feel like metal. It feels very like poetic in a way, like for fear of being a little cheesy about it, but it does. It honestly does.
Living on the barrier, separating death from life. Down hearts, feel no pain, broken hearts, lonely grave, the reflection of the sky, on the mirror of the eyes. I can hear them coming down.
Is that one of those triple pedal things, or is he just doing that with his feet just to, because like y'all watch that what's his name, the drummer guy, and he's got like the three beater double kicks. It looks like he's doing that with his left foot. It's like going back and forth, and I wonder if that's to emphasize the double kicking. It could just be like how he double kicks. It could just be his way of getting through that, and like everyone has their way of playing, right? But that was crazy looking.
I can hear them coming down. A familiar sound. You won't be alone. You won't be alone. Before they tear me apart, the sky circled about. Rushing toward my throat. The hands feel no pain. Creeping onto the real.
Splash first. Tough, man.
It's my time to feel the edge. It is my time to serve. What a nice day to fall into a net. The fear fears for crowds.
What a scream. Crazy. Yeah, man, she's got crazy vocals. This whole band is wild. What did I call them last time? Technicians? Like, that's an understatement.
Since we sacrificed a lot together, each of us has left something behind, and we dedicated ourselves with 200% of ourselves and our time and everything, money, love, dedication, everything to music. So that's what keeps us together. I cannot imagine myself joining another band and going through this shit again.
Yeah.
I don't want to. If I leave the band, find me somewhere like in the woods. I don't know, eating tourists. I don't know how I say it, but
So if you,
I would be a
reading
witch.
newspapers saying that somebody is eating tourists and no one knows where Tatiana is.
The next thing I can do.
Yeah, Tatiana disappeared.
Yeah.
I vibe with that, though. I vibe with that. It's a lonely thing, you know? Like, how are you supposed to convince people that, like, hey,
It's
I-
like
That's-
2 hours interview for sure.
Yeah.
Only for this.
Yeah, but
Only on that question on how we formed as a band, you know.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
2 hours. It's gonna take 2 hours or more.
When are you gonna write the book? When's the book coming out?
Oh, dude.
Well,
that'd be cool.
one day.
If someone among us learns how to write, we will write it definitely.
I like that. I like their personalities. But it's got to be a lonely road, right? Like I say, in my humble experience, it was weird. Like, I started in high school, y'all. I started in like grade 10, working in bars, like trying to set up for bands and things like that. And it was weird trying to explain to your friends, like, hey, I can't go to this party. I have to go work with so and so. And like, the band didn't really matter, right? Like, I got this tattoo that says the show must go on. The show goes on, man. Like, people book these things years in advance. People like dedicate their lives to it, like these artists, and everyone has to show up and everyone has to deliver to an extent, right? And it's hard to explain that to people who aren't a part of it. You know, I could be real salty and be like, you know, they would bend over backwards for hockey players and football players and shit, but like when it came to music and art, nobody ever wanted to. But it's a lonely thing, man. Really lonely thing. Like, I'm really glad that they've found a group that they can rely on each other through thick and thin, and like they don't, you know, obviously they're not going to say that they'd prefer a different guitar player or something like that. Like, they seem like genuinely all in. Like, they've probably sacrificed a ton of their lives. I don't know if any of them are married. Looks like Buddy's wearing a ring here. I kind of forgot their names. I'm really bad with names. It'll take me a while. But like, unless you find someone either in the industry or who's been around it or respects the industry enough, like, it's really, really, really hard to explain. I've missed funerals, I've missed birthday parties, I've missed weddings, I've missed all kinds of stuff, man. Like, think of an event and I've missed it for this. And it's tough, man. It's a really lonely thing. Anyway, this has been a long video, y'all. I really appreciate everyone. If y'all made it to the end of this 40 minutes, man, I really appreciate you. I got the link to this Jinjer Audiotree from Nothing in the description box. Please go give them another view. If they have like a Patreon or anywhere where we can support them too, let me know. I'll add it to the description box as well. And be well, everyone. See you on the next one.